It's Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 3. The first time these two got together, McGregor won by TKO in the first round. That was at UFC 178 in September of 2014. The rematch, much more recent, obviously. It was back in January. Dustin Poirier got his revenge. TKO in the second round of UFC 257. So here's what we're going to do. Okay? We're going to start by just picking who we think wins, and I want you to tell me how. Okay? Afterwards, we're going to pick the when. Okay? So start with who and how, and then we'll do the when.
Who? Dustin Poirier.
Okay.
The favorite. The reason being, at this point in his career, Conor McGregor is more of a draw and a cash collector than he is an actually good fighter. This is not the Conor of 2014 when he wasn't quite as wealthy, when he was still striving for the recognition in his bank account and from the public at large that he is one of the most notorious bad men on the planet. Now he has those things, and it just appears that the drive, the determination to go out and not more so put on a show, but just collect that check and then go back and live that comfortable life. So Poirier, why? Because of Conor's opulence and wealth at this point. Now, the how you want?
The how.
I do think it's going to be a stoppage of some sort, a KO, a TKO, a DQ, like we saw. But I don't think, and we'll get to this in a little bit after you give your analysis, I don't think it's going to happen quite as early for Dustin Poirier this time around.
I'm right there with you. I'm going to take Dustin Poirier plus 175, win by KO, TKO, or DQ. Conor is rich and he's comfortable. And those are two things, especially the second one, that you don't want to be if you're in mixed martial arts. Think about, for those who might not be familiar, Rocky 3.
Oh,
remember Rocky living large?
Yes.
Fighting Thunder Lips, a.k.a. Terry Bollea, a.k.a.
Hulk Hogan.
Terry Bollea. Terry Bollea. Is that the real name?
That's the real name.
Terry Bollea.
Hulk Hogan.
Close. Not close enough, though.
That was where we were introduced to Mr. T.
Yeah. Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
Hungry. Doing those pull-ups in his crappy apartment. In the closet. He couldn't even put the pull-up bar in a nice place. It was in his closet. His closet was a gym and also a closet. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Meanwhile,
and yet he went out there.
Rocky's getting his son the robots. I mean, women, they weaken the legs.
Too comfortable. Balboa was too comfortable and he paid. That's Conor McGregor. And Conor McGregor, to be honest with you, he doesn't go that deep in fights anyway.
Right.
He's lost 2 of his last 3. He's 3-3 over his last 6. He's gone a full 5 rounds. 1 time in 27 MMA fights. So I'm going to take Dustin Poirier plus 175 by stoppage. When do you see it ending?
I'm going to say the 4th round. Ooh. I do think Conor, because he has had some lackluster performances, is going to try just about 8% harder. And I think instead of getting stopped in the 2nd round, he'll run out of gas in the 3rd round. He'll become vulnerable in the 4th round for Poirier to end it at 10-1.
I'm going to take it in the 3rd round at plus 550. Why? I'd love to give you some great analysis, but I just used it all up on the Clubber Lang analogy, and I'm all out. The first time they got together, it ended in the 1st. We talked to Chael Sonnen on this show last week, and Chael said if Conor's going to win this fight, it's going to be in the 1st round. If it's anything after the 1st round, it's going to be Dustin Poirier. I'd have to imagine Conor has something new he can throw at Poirier, which maybe forces him to figure it out, and then it gets to the 2nd, and that's when it becomes the waiting game. Sweating out the second 5 minutes, hoping to get to the 3rd. Ultimately, I favor the bet of the stoppage at plus 175 over the round bet, but that's what I'd make. Chael also made an excellent point last week as well. He said rather than training right down the street the way he came up, Conor went all the way to like Abu Dhabi or Dubai for his training camp. He thought that was odd. Why would you go somewhere so far away just to get ready for a fight when you could do it right down the street, which is what got you?
Just shows you the difference in McGregor and his lifestyle now. I'm sure it's not that fun to train right down the street, but if you go to some crazy exotic place like Abu Dhabi or Dubai after you are trained, you can go have a nice dinner or you can go see stuff. So it's just a different lifestyle for Conor right now. That's great for him, who doesn't want that, but does it make him as good or a better fighter than he once was? Personally, I don't think so.
One thing lost in this, and there's so much focus on Conor going into these fights, obviously because he's the A side, as they say. He's the one that brings in the money. He's the one that brings in the notoriety. Dustin Poirier's only lost 1 time in his last 8 fights. That was against Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's the absolute best in the game. So if that's going to be your 1 loss, you got a pretty good resume.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.